now we've got wonderful author Amitav Ghosh. Thank you very much, Amitav, for joining us all the way from Brooklyn. I know where your heart is. It's actually in Calcutta. You've written and studied a lot about cyclones. From what you've written, we can expect cyclones with a higher frequency and greater intensity. That's worrying. Is that right?
Well, first of all, hi Pranay, and I'm very glad to be here, and thank you for having me on this program.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean, all the studies of, climate scientists all say that we are going to see a huge increase in cyclonic activity and also an intensification of cyclonic activity, you've seen surely that, just in these few weeks, we've had so many cyclones, in the Bay of Bengal, but also in the Arabian Sea.
Yes.
It's kind of extraordinary, the increase in cyclonic activity that we see, certainly in our neighborhood. And that's driven partly by, cyclones draw their energy from the heat in the water. Right. And the waters around us are heating up very, very fast. So that's what's really providing the extra energy for these cyclones.
Mr. Ghosh, you have often spoken about this problem, that the big problem when cyclones occur, especially in low-lying areas like Sundarbans, is saltwater intrusion into rice fields, into fishing ponds, everything gone. What is the solution?
The problem is that, when this water comes in, it intensifies the process of saltwater intrusion. So Cyclone Aila, for example, in 2009, even though fortunately it didn't take a terrible toll in lives, it took a terrible toll in livelihoods. A lot of people lose their ability to feed themselves. The water, right now I'm hearing from the Sundarban that many people just don't have water. They have to walk for miles and miles to get drinking water because all their freshwater sources have been salinated.
Very true. Very true.
And that land, which is actually quite fertile land, once it gets salinated, it takes you years to bring productivity. Though here I must say, fortunately, there is an amazing seed scientist, Deval Dev, whose work you may know. He has been specializing in developing and regenerating salt-resistant types of rice.
सही बात है। जैसा आपने कहा भी है कि आपने लिखा है कि मौसम विभाग ने बड़ा बढ़िया काम किया है। अगर 2 दशक पहले की बात करें, उससे कंपैरिजन करें, तो इस बार शायद हर किलोमीटर पर चेतावनी मिली है। तो क्या हम कह सकते हैं कि एक तरह से सब इसके लिए तैयार थे?
Yes, absolutely. And Dr. Mahapatra is a very highly respected, scientist. And IMD has done an incredible job, in fact. Really, their predictions of the route of Cyclone Amphan was absolutely dead on.
Both of us, in a sense, covered the tsunami several years back. You as a writer, I was there as a journalist. I saw you working and observing. How much did that experience actually condition you in terms of your studies, your readings, or your views about cyclones and natural disasters?
That was a very strange, uncanny experience because, my book, The Hungry Tide, was published that year.
Yes.
And the Hungry Tide ends with a great wave coming in, into the Sundarban.
Yes.
So when this thing happened, I had just arrived in Kolkata, actually, when this tsunami hit. And I found that I just couldn't think of anything else. So I wrote to N. Ram, who was then running the Hindu, and I said, look, I want to go and cover this. I want to write a story about it. So he said, sure, go ahead. So then I flew straight to the Andamans, and I went with Rahul Bose, actually. We both went together, and we went around together. And Rahul has retained a long connection with the Andaman Islands. He set up an NGO, for teaching children and so on. Right. So yeah, that was a kind of pivotal moment. And after that, after the tsunami happened, Gopal Gandhi, who was then governor of Bengal, wrote to me and said, I feel like I saw this all in your book. So it was a kind of strange, uncanny moment for me.
Worry have, Amitav, is about you and stones of various kinds. You seem to be intertwined. Either you are drawn to stones or stones are drawn to you. It makes for at least an unmatched experience.
When I was 8 years old, and I remember it vividly. I remember the water flowing through our house. I mean, actually, there was a little pond behind our house, and these fish were going through our house and everything.
Wow.
It was an extraordinary experience. So yes, I think everyone who's familiar with the landscape of Bengal knows that we grow up with these extraordinary events. And I also experienced actually a tornado in Delhi, of all places, in 1978. So I have a long sort of strange relationship with these weird sorts of with these weather events. So I'm very much drawn into them. But, we have to remember that it's not just me. I mean, on the landscape of Bengal, everyone who inhabits it, including writers, filmmakers, and so on, develops this kind of relationship, with these weather events. If you think of Pather Pachali, Satyajit Ray's great film, it's all orchestrated. I mean, the whole narrative arc is built around a storm.